Alright, so I got a couple questions on my 300 TD. I figured a video would make it easier. First and foremost, anyone could identify exactly what this is down here, what it's doing. If it was stock, this car was modified for biofuels, so I don't really know what's different about it versus the stock one, but obviously this doesn't seem like it lives here in close proximity to rubbing on things. And this kind of just is floating. So I'd love some information on that. This tube down here that comes off of the turbo, I believe, has a crack in it, so it is leaking, I don't know, maybe wastegate boost? I'm not sure. That would otherwise go into the exhaust manifold. I don't really know, but if anyone has a part number for that, I'd like to get that replaced, and maybe that'll help the engine a little bit. This tube here on the intake, why is it cut? Why is it open? I don't even know if it goes straight into the intake. I assume it does. Where does that actually supposed to go? There's a wire here, which is really sketchy, in like a totally sketch location, just kind of hanging out, going to the wiring loom. I'd be curious where this is actually supposed to run. Previous owner did some biofuel stuff, so I believe this is a filter, but I really know nothing about it. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different tubes coming to it. I believe it's carrying diesel fuel. This is an electric pump, I believe they installed. And it's nice and sketchily wired. This sweet crimp job and inline fuse. This turns on with the ignition. I'm guessing it's just to help pump the biofuels. So if anyone knows if I can get rid of this, what the best thing to do with this system, I have no intention of running biofuels, so I'd like to just return it to stock, or if it's fine as is, great. If anyone's familiar with this system, like, can I take this filter off? How do I check it? I don't know anything about it, so any information anyone has would be more than I have. The washer fluid reservoir, I think, is missing. I'm sure it lived somewhere around in here, and I believe this is the pump for it. Not sure if it works still, but it would be nice to get washer fluid capability back. This kind of looks broken to me. Also, I'm unclear how this would mount into some sort of reservoir and actually stay where it should be. I assume maybe you just connect a tube onto this, and so it can reach the bottom. But yeah, if anyone has any suggestions on how to get washer fluid back, I know it's a fairly simple job, but just test if this is working. Maybe get a replacement reservoir for the fluid. But I'd like to get that solved somewhat soon. I think that's all I've got for questions at the moment. I have a spare boost gauge that I'd like to install just to see what boost the car is actually running at. And if anyone has any suggestions of what vacuum line would be the best. You know, this car's been modified, so I don't always know what's stock, what's not. Like, what is this? Why is this just cut and open? Kind of looks like maybe it's part of the cruise control, which doesn't work. I have no idea. So if anyone has more information on this type of stuff, that would be great. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's all the questions I have for the moment. You can see this car was in a front end collision. And this whole panel was probably cut out and sloppily welded back together. You can see it's all kind of mangled up a little bit, dented, some more poor welding over here, some welding here, where things went crunch. But, I mean, this is a winter car. It runs, it drives, so I'm not going to complain. It is 30 years old. So yeah, if anyone has any information, they want to post it, that would be awesome. Be very appreciative of that. And if you see anything else worth noting, obviously just let me know. I'll show you real quick what there is to see of the alternator install. So I got rid of the factory terminal for the positive. This is just like a cheap Napa terminal with bolts. So this is the new alternator wiring, nice and beefy. Comes into the factory distribution block, exits, goes down, and if you can see the little red, it's the only red thing in there. That's the new beefy alternator. It's what, 115 amps versus the stock's 55, so that's pretty great. Now I can charge lots of stuff. I'd like to do some USB mod in the glove box or something. The cigarette lighter in this car does not work particularly well, so I'd like to add some new ones. And so yeah, I will be tackling my leak issues coming up. Most likely leaking either from the windshield, or I also suspect these could be leaking as well. However, there's little things like this gasket is kind of junk and clearly just going straight into the cabin, but how much water is really going to get in there, I'm not sure. There was a section of rust underneath this battery. I pulled out the battery tray. There was some corrosion kind of sort of straight down in there, and I cleaned it up as best I could. Gave it a POR 15 double coat, and then I covered the entire area in a 3M seam sealer. And so that's nice and hard now. And when I did a little water test, the water was now correctly draining out of the fender. So I'm still getting water on this side of the car though, so I haven't fixed this gasket. I'm not sure what the best method is there. Maybe just try and clean it up, put a little seam sealant on there, like a silicone sealer, try and get the gasket back in place. However, it's also leaking on the other side. And this side, I'm not really sure where it could be coming from. I need to do some water tests. Fun times, especially in the winter. I don't know if I mentioned this already. Like, what is this? Why is it disconnected? It kind of just looks like a vacuum leak, maybe off the cruise control. I'm not really familiar with these cars, so if anyone knows, that's awesome. I believe there's supposed to be some sort of shock absorber, engine absorber. I forget where it is, actually, but I think it's missing on one of these sides. Maybe there? I think there's supposed to be some sort of shock absorber there, so maybe my engine's getting more shake than it needs to. Yeah, so thanks for watching. Sorry it's a boring video. If anyone has any information on the things I talked about, please let me know.